This is Countdown to Economic Collapse, December 4th, 2011. I'm David John Sponheim for America's Third Party, running for president in 2012. It's happening again. They're printing money. They're saying, actually, it's okay for the euro to continue to mismanage their funds, all the different nations within the European Union. They're saying they're going to extend the amount of debt, and they're going to chase that debt with more debt. So, the Federal Reserve discovered something very, very interesting a long time ago, that they could just print money out of thin air. So of course they don't have to worry about what's going on in the European nations that are improperly balancing their budget. They just extend credit, and that gives investors in America's markets kind of a lift. And then they tell the American investor that unemployment's gone down to 8.6%. Well, of course it's gone down. It's the Christmas season. People are hired at the retail stores to sell things, and people are spending money, which is a good sign for our economy. But is it spending money because they have it, or is it a mad rush, a desperate rush to make a little bit of money on discounted items? That's what the American people are doing right now, because they know that something's up. When the Federal Reserve extends credit to various countries, when they joined 5 other central banks, they essentially decided that it would be okay to lower the reserve amounts necessary to get credit. That definitely affects the free market. You see, the very core nature of our economy is undermined when people at the top just recklessly print money and give it to big banks. And those big banks don't give it to small banks, and the small banks don't make loans to small businesses or to you to improve your life. So all of this is essentially creating a false sense of happiness. And it's a mad race to the end on the stock market. It seems like everyone's just grabbing for more profit, thinking that the end is near. Well, the end is near. The end of reckless expenditures in various ways. Investments, futures markets, stock options, swaps that are going on, options. These things are very, very dangerous to the underlying health of our economy. A good, laissez-faire economy will work to create the best possible products at the lowest possible prices. But why would banks or even big industries, why would they start to create products when the market itself doesn't want to buy them? Because they don't have any money. People are running out of money at the bottom. So that's creating a kind of a vacuum in the middle of the economy. And the service economy is threatened. Various people can't even afford to do their own laundry or have things outsourced. You have your gardener come over, you might cut that cost to the gardener just to deal with the excesses of the economy and the prices that they are charging you at the markets. Those aren't going down. Our nation is inflating, but the jobs aren't inflating. The wages aren't inflating. So what's going on is the rape of the American people's pocketbook at the expense of big bankers and this incredible lie that the Federal Reserve has promoted for nearly a century. They're creating money out of thin air. They put $1 in the bank and give 9 out. They do that in a big way, so that out of every dollar, 5 cents goes to the Federal Reserve or to their cronies like Goldman Sachs. This is a crazy world we're living in, but I urge you to think about a third party. Now is the time to start making the move for 2012 so that we can actually get the kind of exposure needed. Now, I am not getting exposure on the mass media, which is affecting my ability to get this message out. The American people need a voice in government, and they don't have it. So we're doing everything we can, and we're going to be putting out some very outlandish videos on YouTube just to get heard. Now, don't be shocked by these videos. They are only designed so that I can get my name out into the mainstream media so that my message for the American people can be heard. We've got great new ideas that will solve America's problems. We'll begin to calm down the storm that the Middle East has turned into, with Egypt turning into an Islamist state. Essentially, 60% of the votes that went through the Egyptian election are going for the Islamist jihadist vote. This is a serious problem. And it's exactly what I predicted would happen when Barack Obama and the Democrats started their Arab Spring / Arab Winter. Countries around the world will be falling toward this extreme Muslim fundamentalist religion. Now, that's not something that we support. We don't get behind Sharia law, which subjugates women and denies them their rights. We want to make sure freedom prevails all around the world, and we want to maintain our advantage. And I don't believe that Barack Obama even has a strategy in the Middle East. I think he's just flying by the seat of his pants and undermining every single good relationship we've got overseas. This is a serious problem, and the only way we can remedy it is with a brand new president. I will deliver a solid message for America. In 2013, we'll see more jobs. We'll see our nation become more of a protectionist nation, protecting its own economy and ending this reckless amount of outsourcing that goes on constantly under our feet. So I'm David John Sponheim, and I truly believe that this country can get better. We can improve how things are for the average person. So tell all the average people you know about America's Third Party and direct them to our website. We've got to ramp it up. If you're a third-party activist like I am, and you're in this online revolution like we are, you have to start telling everybody you can about this movement. It's starting on the internet, and the reason why it isn't receiving teleplay in the mainstream media is because the mainstream media is owned and operated by elitists, and they own and operate our two-party system. So we're not likely to get our name out there in the mainstream media unless we start making some serious noise. And that is exactly what America's Third Party is doing. We're running a very interesting campaign right now on the side, which should attract a lot of viewership and a lot of buzz in the mainstream media. But in the meantime, I want you to know how bad people have it in America. How many people, like myself, who technically I guess I'm in poverty because I'm not making any money as a businessman. My business has virtually died. And under the past 3 years of Barack Obama, I have seen very hard times. So hard that I can't even afford a new shirt. That's right. I have to wear shirts like this with holes in it. You think it's a new shirt, but it's not. It's actually a ragged, torn shirt that I can't even patch. And this is exactly what our country is going through. This is like a metaphor for what our nation is dealing with. And I understand full well what the American people are going through. If anybody's going to help fix this problem in the future, it's going to be a person who can come from that problem and understand it. Not someone who's grown up with a silver spoon in his mouth like Newt Gingrich, who is earning $1.8 million in 8 years from Freddie Mac, as Freddie Mac continues to take money from the housing market. And if you choose somebody like Newt Gingrich for your president, you're going to be facing the same kind of moneyed interests controlling the White House as you've seen with every other president, from Barack Obama, George W. Bush, all the way back to Ronald Reagan. And you know, it's no secret the Federal Reserve has been able to do this. They've been doing it for nearly 100 years, and nobody seems to question them. And anytime somebody does, the media shuts them up. And then they turn them into a whack job. They call them a whack job, like they're unable to make any sensible statements, when in fact the Federal Reserve doesn't really have a legal right to exist. When you look at the signing of the Federal Reserve Act in 1913, there are a lot of questions about how it was signed. And in that process has never been thoroughly reviewed by constitutional experts. So we seriously have a problem, folks. We've got a group of central bank, IMF, world bankers who are controlling our nation through the tendril of the Federal Reserve. And if we don't start getting smart real soon, we're going to lose everything our nation has ever fought for. Now, I urge you to tell your friends about a third party. It's not too late to create a brand new top-down restoration for this country. And I'm ready to do it. Now, you've got a person with a highly skilled mind and a very high level of intelligence standing before you asking you, please vote for me in 2012 so that I can do the necessary things to change the nation, to create the inventions, to innovate, and to create the jobs necessary to get this country back on track. So it's really up to you and all your friends to do this and do it for America. I'm David John Sponheim, and I support this message.
Check us out at americasthirdparty.com.
ATP, you and me.